99% of the world is okay with mediocrity. You're chasing something so much bigger, and how do you ever expect anyone to understand it?
One game we were playing the Lakers in my rookie year and did a little spin move situation, hit it off the glass, and they panned to him on the bench, and he mouths off to one of his teammates sitting next to him like, yo, he's nice. Right? And so somebody sent me that clip right after, and you don't know how much confidence that gave me in that moment. Like, oh, I'm the best player in the world now. Like just for him saying that and almost validating, you know, my skill level and things like that. So,
and you know, for him to tell me that, you know, in his book I'm an all-star and stuff like that, you know what I mean, like that. I talked about the popularity contest before, and like, you know, you don't win things like that, you know, when you're me. So for him to say that, like, I didn't need to be selected, you know what I mean, anymore, like, because I was an all-star, you feel me? Like, it's not just like my family, you know, it was the guy.
Kobe, not just for me, you know, it was for everybody, inspiration, you know, his hard work, the way he played the game, the way he was off the court. It was just something amazing. I think not just in basketball, he inspired a lot of people in the world, and, you know, we'll miss him for sure.
He said something like, if Kobe and somebody had a baby, you know, it'd be me, you know, whatever. And, you know, just for people to put me in the same sentence with Kobe, just make me feel good about my grind, my mom, my family, my teammates, y'all, my homeboys. Just is a tribute to y'all. You know what I mean? For a motherfucker to put me in the same category as Kobe Bryant, like, that's so dope to me.
Man, Kobe meant everything to me. Kobe was...
I see you light up.
Yeah, Kobe was my Michael Jordan.
Right.
You know, Kobe was, like I said, my family's from Inglewood, so I was brainwashed into being a Laker fan. So in '96, I was 7 years old, and knowing who Kobe was, getting drafted, Shaq just came over, like, that was my childhood, you know. You know, he was everything to my life, not just hoop. You know, I wanted to be him. I knew I wasn't, just because I wasn't gonna be 6'6". I wasn't gonna be as big as him, but, you know, he inspired me in so many different ways. And then when I was able to, you know, reach that level of, you know, one of the top guys in the NBA, I was able to build a relationship with Kobe. And it wasn't just no hoop relationship. It was an everyday, you know, lifestyle relationship in terms of if I was going through something, I can hit him and he was hitting me right back. And, you know, he meant everything to me. When I was able to build that friendship with him, it was crazy checking my phone and seeing a text from Kobe.
Right.
Like, it didn't make no sense because, you know, I looked up to him for so long. So, you know, when I got signed with the Pelicans and they were giving me jersey options and 24 was there, it was a no-brainer. Like, I wanted to do my part into paying some type of homage to my favorite player to ever play the game.
You know, especially watching this Jordan documentary and really made me realize, like, that was Kobe for me. Like, Kobe was my Jordan, and he was my favorite player.
Right.
He was the reason I started playing basketball. Like, you know, I had all the jerseys, all the shoes. I wanted to be just like him. So, you know, Kobe was Jordan for me.
For me, Kobe was my imagination. Growing up, when I started to understand and comprehend basketball at a young age, it was from Kobe.
So whenever I watch him, I imitate whatever he did as a kid on an imaginary court, in a room, whatever. And it kind of just continued to translate as he grew, and me seeing, you know, the stepping stones that he took playing basketball. I wanted to do the same thing. It just carried over, you know. So just watching him and having an opportunity to watch him, even though we didn't have cable, that's who I gravitated to early on.
And for me to see the start, the fails, gave me an emotional connection to one of my favorite players that made me want to push harder when it came to want to play sports. The culture of LA for me is based around Bean, man. Like, the energy always been Kobe, you know? When you think about that yellow and gold, you think about Bean.
I'm signing. As soon as I get signed, Mr. West said, hey, man, I don't know how I got this kid. I got a kid named Kobe Bryant. You and him, we're going to get multiple championships. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Because I'm looking at all them goddamn
120.
zeros.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he said that. Like, he saw something in Kobe that nobody saw. In an interview, Kobe reminded me that he came to Orlando to see Penny, and Penny kind of blew him off, and he had this sad look on his face, and I grabbed him, was like, come on, man, take a picture. I never knew that was him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never knew that was him until he told me, you know, when we did that TNT Laker thing, he said, you don't remember meeting me? He never told me that. Like, you know, through all the years that we played in there, he never told me that.
Being around somebody who's been through so much in his life, who've invited everybody into his life as well along that journey, and just to see the lessons that Kobe learned through the game and how he was so eager to give it off to the younger players. Not just myself, guys that were #1 options on their team, but even role-playing guys. He always, you know, guys that were, you know, in and out the league, he always had his arm around them. So just a huge, huge ambassador for us all, but also had us dreaming about what life is like outside of the game and how we can all tie it together. His lessons were small and short. He didn't say much when you was around him, really closed off and reserved, but when you broke that down, it was just like phenomenal to see the human he is, human he was, and just the curiosity that he had for the game, for life in general. I remember he asked me about how I came off a pin down one time, and I'm like, you're Kobe. you know, so it's just, I can talk about the memories and the small interactions that I had that probably he didn't know that touched me, but I can go on and on. But
I think Kobe, like, is the most skilled out of all the players as far as pure skill. Just thinking about it, like, he can do all that. Like, everything Jordan did, I felt like he just multiplied it.
He
like,
perfected that shit.
Yeah, like, you see what works and then you use that and make it work for you. So that's what Kobe did, and he did it with the best player ever. Like, he did everything he did and made it better. And, you know, even watching him practice, like, some things that he was doing, I was like, why is he doing it? Like, one day I saw him getting his fingers stretched. I'm like, why is he getting his fingers stretched? I just saw the lady doing this for a whole, like, hour, and I guess it was when he shot his jump shot. So it'll be smooth every time so it's just like little things like that. Like, where did he learn that from? It was just crazy to see, but.
Kobe was somebody that, you know, I considered one of the best one-on-one players. Like, he was the ceiling as far as one-on-one basketball.
Right.
I knew I had to sharpen my skills and my one-on-one skills if I wanted to compete against him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so he was the measuring stick.
He was the bar. Right. He was the bar. When I'm a young kid looking at Kobe, I'm like, okay, he's the bar. He's who I gotta come at, you know, and make a name for myself competing against him.
But for me, when I got into the league, Kobe Bryant was the bar. You know, he was the greatest player in the game to me. He was 24 years old at the time when I got in. He had 3 NBA championships already. You know what I mean? And when you want to talk about the swagger, oof. I mean, Kobe had it. But as a competitor, I knew that Kobe was the one for me that I had. If I wanted to be great, that I had to get on the level of Kobe Bryant. However I did that, I knew I had to get on his level or be respected by him in some way where he looked at me as equal. So it pushed me, and he pushed me. And we didn't talk a lot early on, but I feel like when we got to around 08 in the Olympics is when we got close. And it all started from training. Like, I think once you get around guys and you really see who they are and what they're built of, because you're around them for 2-3 months. And Kobe saw that my grind was very similar to his grind, and that me and him did a lot of things where it was just me and him, and it wasn't no one else around, you know. And so he started respecting me in a way that I already had respect for him in. And then he just became like a big brother, you know, during the Olympics. You know, his knowledge of the game, even though I was a great player, Kobe had knowledge of the game that I didn't have. And so he became a person that I would go to and just, hey, what should I do on this play? Hey, you know, how should I do this? And he kind of like, you know, he came to me and said, listen, when he heard that I wasn't starting and he eased my mind, he was like, listen, when you get in the game and it's me and you on the floor, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick up 94 feet. I'm going to turn these guys. And once I turn them, you do what you do. You come in, you know? And so I got so many steals and so many dunks and so much because of the unselfishness of a star in our league to tell me, hey, I'm going to do these things. And all you got to do is, you know. So we just built a relationship, and that relationship went from respect as competitors to now where I felt like he was a friend, and it eventually grew into just a brotherhood.
So when I was retiring, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I've been playing basketball my whole life, you know, and then so it was scary. You know, I called Kobe and I went down to go meet with him. He would just give me tips. And I'm asking him, how did you do that? What was your thought process? And he said, just keep pushing, keep pushing. He's one of the ones I wanted to make proud. As an athlete, so many athletes get in trouble, you know, on the business side. And Kobe is making really good decisions, and that's very important and inspiring to the future athletes. It was things on that side that I wanted to show him. And I wanted to thank him for helping me and help my family. When you have a teacher, because you can't get a lot of the knowledge in college, right? Or high school, or in life if you don't have the background. And you know, Kobe was like that, a teacher also, you know, for me. So many things I'm grateful for. You know, one, him helping me get a focus on the title. I mean, as a kid, that's all I wanted. You know, life is bigger than basketball, but not really, you know. I don't know if I would have had a championship. You know, I could say I would have, but I don't know how realistic it would have been if I wasn't his teammate.
Me and Kobe, we've had some differences, you know, early in our careers and stuff like that. But he meant a lot to me. And one thing that, you know, I wish that, you know, I would have had a chance to do was tell him how much I really appreciated him and the growth and change that I saw with him from a player to retire from the NBA. And I just wanted to tell him how thankful I was for that and that opportunity to play with him and how appreciative I was just for all the things that we had went through together as players and also brothers.
Cole was like one of the few guys that I just like wasn't kind of like all of.
We all were.
Like I played mad against everybody, but him, we always had like a different type of relationship. I think it was more out of respect too. Mm-hmm. Everybody else I pretty much couldn't care less about. Mm-hmm. It seemed that way. I mean, you know, just to have the opportunity to match up with him, know him on and off the court was special. I mean, it made me who I am, mm-hmm. pretty much. Mm-hmm. So he meant so much to me in the basketball world. It's like you almost lost a family member, or you did. You know, like I've lost family members, I've lost friends and stuff, but for some reason this one like hit, like one of the hardest hitting ones.
He was untouchable. He's like damn untouchable to us. Like
yeah, right.
Anything can happen, it can't happen to
It's
Cole.
not supposed to happen to Cole, right?
Like even today, man, I'm like just looking at the mirror, like it's hard. It's hard, man.
When I'm like 80, hopefully I'm still alive, but when I'm like 80, I'm gonna tell my grandkids like I guarded Kobe Bryant in the NBA Finals. And yes, he got the best of me, but I had some stops. Check the tape. Check the tape.
Just his analogies and his metaphors where he used to say certain things to me I didn't understand probably till a year later after he told me something. He spoke in codes and it was on you to figure it out. But I want to say 80% of that came from him. He was one of the first ones that made me start paying attention to fucking soccer. Like, look how they run, how they this, how they, you know what I mean? It's like, I've never played soccer or watch. He said, just watch it. You know, over time, you start to understand a lot of stuff he talked about. And, you know, so from the footwork aspect, I got the majority of that from Kobe.
I mean, he's influenced so many people that it's beyond basketball. Just the mentality of getting up, being great, pushing through any and everything, and wanting to be the best at what you do. That's in life in general, not just basketball, not just what you do. But anybody can say, you know, I want that Mamba mentality. I have to. There's no other choice but to be the best.
You know, his last tweet, you know, being about LeBron, congratulating him and talking about moving the game forward, it's really fitting because that's all he ever did was move the game forward.
Obviously, when I retired, you know, and I, you know, you just imagine like, okay, we're going to be those two old guys that, you know, that go to games and when the Heat play to LA and we're going to be on opposite sides and, you know, it's just going to be that kind of thing. You see it coming and not to have that, you know, not to be retired and have somebody that I can chase after still because he was doing amazing things after the game of basketball. You know, you feel a little lost. I kind of lost a little bit of something in me when Kobe retired because it was like, well, who am I chasing now? You know what I mean? Who is that big matchup for me? Because yeah, it's just the younger guys coming up and you want to make sure, but I felt like Kobe was the only one that was on the level that I was on as one of the top 2 guards. And even though I felt he was on a higher level than me, but I still was able to chase him. And I didn't have anybody to chase no more, so it was kind of like, okay.
You know, my first All-Star game in 2014, I think it was, I sat next to him pretty much the whole game. I didn't play a lot. And on the bench, he just was, you know, just dropping so much knowledge on me and just kind of comforting me. Like, when you get out there, just shoot. You know, be confident. You belong here. You could have been here last year. You know, just his words meant so much to me in that time. I was kind of nervous to even reach out to him or anything like that, but I did. And just how he always got back to me. He always had encouraging things to say and honest things to say. And you know, we just kind of developed a friendship from there.
What's the team's energy, focus like, and then the drive to actually winning it the year he passes?
Yeah, at first it was tough, man. That was a tough adjustment for the team because, you know, how you get to that initial stages, you know, the first few days, right, kind of get used to it. But every time we went on the road, teams did a Kobe tribute. But I think once we got to the bubble, you kind of felt like everybody's motivation. And then they pulled out the Mamba jerseys. You saw just a different, for whatever reason, man, they played at a different sense of urgency, but you kind of felt everybody was really, really pulling in that direction, man, and trying to do something special.